Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's show. I tell you what, like I do each and every week, we have got something really cool going on this week. Hey Jason, we got Jason from the DNR here in Green Bay. Hey, let's tell everybody what's going on. We're up here obviously today, we're stripping muskies.
That's right, Larry, we're up here today. We're at Fox Point Boat Landing. There's a boat behind us. They're working up some muskies. We have 5 pike nets out in various locations along the Fox River here, and that's how we capture our adult muskies and we bring them back to the boat landing here. We have staff from our Wild Rose Fish Hatchery as well as Bosedny Anadromous Fish Facility that are spawning the fish to bring them back to the hatcheries to raise those fish for 6 or 7 months to get stocked back out into the Fox River, Green Bay, various other locations, as well as some inland lakes this fall when they're about 10 or 12 inches long.
I never realized this, but they're actually in the Fox River right now. As you know of, there is no natural reproduction in this system as far as in this area here.
Our ultimate goal is to reestablish a self-sustaining population that's sustained solely through natural reproduction. One of the things that we've learned in recent years is that the muskies actually are returning to their stocking locations to spawn. And so where we stock these fish really matters. If we stock them in habitat that isn't suitable for reproduction in the future, then we're not going to get a successfully reproducing self-sustaining population. Unfortunately, we don't have very much in the way of coastal wetland habitat in the Fox River anymore, so we don't have very good spawning or nursery habitat in the Fox itself. We're also trying to restore some of the habitat, trying to do some wetland restoration projects and things to recreate some of that historical habitat that the muskies relied on when they were naturally reproducing. Our fish management staff are the ones that are out here running the nets, and then our hatchery staff are the ones that are spawning the fish and raising them, feeding them, etc.
So how old are these fish before you're actually going to dump them back in there? Did you say 6 months?
We'll stock them out sometime in October or November.
How big will they be?
They'll be about 10 to 12 inches long.
So they actually grow that fast.
Yep.
As a fisherman and other fishermen out there that are watching the show here, what would you like to see us do as far as trying to participate and making your job a little bit easier?
Well, first off, come out and enjoy the fishery. Get out and enjoy the outdoors. We're putting all this effort in so that you guys can come out here and enjoy the fishery.
Remember that.
Treat the fish with respect when you're fishing them, especially if you're going to release it. Try to keep it in the water as long as you can, handle it properly, etc. But just get out and enjoy the outdoors. Anytime you get outside, it helps to support our program so we can continue to do the things that we need to do to provide fisheries like this.
Well, I tell you what, he doesn't have to say that twice to me for sure. I mean, I can't think of a better environment to be in each and every day than being outdoors. Okay.
Rock bass.
Did you let the bullfin go already?
Nope.
I want to. Yep.
Gar. Look at that.
Oh, soft shell, huh? Yeah.
Nice smallmouth.
You see a lot of soft shells here?
We don't. No.
You don't.
We didn't weigh it. We don't weigh them because it's hard to weigh a fish this big and it can be stressful on them.
Yeah.
Added stress to weigh them, so we don't weigh it. But it was a female full of eggs. So
what would you estimate that fish?
40 to 50 pounds. When they used to weigh them.
Yeah.
Anywhere above, the low to mid 50s inch range, it's getting to that 40 to 50 pounds when we weighed them.
Well, go for it.
Yes, get up here. Come on, do it.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. All right.
You just need a little encouragement.
Right? Yep.
He's not going to
Pick
say
ahead
no.
and go with it, and then kind of have to work it so they get all the way in there.
Yes, you don't need to
Make
tell him.
sure
Look
the
at
tail
that.
gets all the way in there.
Yep. Okay.
Good.
Okay, here we go.
Yep.
Perfect. Nice.
Slack.
Yep. Oh, that is so cool. God, that's cool.
Whenever you're set.
Yep. No, yesterday when you checked the nets, you had 6 nets and we had
5 nets.
5 nets and you had what?
46 fish in there.
Wow, that's a lot of fish.
15 females and 31 males.
Okay. So how long will the spawning process actually take here once they start going? Is it weather dependent too?
It can be. We've seen it last a couple of weeks that they'll come in and spawn. But if you get a really big warm-up like we had last year, I think it was a very, very short spawn. It only lasted a couple of days. We had
short window.
4 days of record highs, right around, some of the highs were 90 degrees and water temps spiked up over 60 really quickly. So I think it was a really short spawn. So let's head back, Corey, because they were going to spawn those fish if we didn't get any in this net, I think. All right, so when we're up here working up the fish that we collect in our pike nets, we measure the length of every single fish. We determine the gender of that fish. We look for fin clips. All of our stocked fish receive a fin clip, whether it's a yearling or a large fingerling. And we also pit tag all of our fish. PIT stands for Passive Integrated Transponder Tag. They're the little microchips that a lot of people are putting in their pets now, and each tag has its own unique identifiable number. And that tells us a lot of information about the fish, whether we tagged it as an adult or when it was stocked. We can learn about movements, where the fish, if it was captured in a similar area to where it was stocked, if it was captured in a similar area from previous years, based on that unique identifiable number. And we can also learn things like, do they return to their stocking location to spawn? So we know the pit tags of all the fish that are stocked in a specific location if it was pit tagged, and then we can see if we're catching those fish, let's say in the Fox River again, when they become adults to spawn.
Hey, Shotgun Chef in the kitchen, Larry Smith Outdoors. We have Leroy Lunch. This is a good thing to have to take to any party you go to. We just had it at a party the other night. Barbecue belly bites. They're all marinated. They're in the butcher shop. I even talked to the butcher. He's super cool. Let's go outside and put them on the grill. Hey, Shotgun back in the kitchen after being on the grill. About 7-8 minutes on the grill. You can see what they look like. They're beautiful. Like I say, in the butcher shop, he even gave me the skewers. You just asked them, they're super nice. Take a piece of the belly bite, pineapple. Yep, them are good.
So right now, we're taking ovarian fluid samples. That's kind of our first step in health inspection stuff. And then once we pull that OV fluid off, then we will fertilize the eggs up. And then the milt is inactive until you add water. So once you add some water, then the milt becomes activated and starts fertilizing the eggs. But then that milt is only active for 15 to 20 seconds. Like walleye eggs really stick, sturgeon eggs stick, and musky eggs stick. So when we get to like sturgeon and walleyes, we'll actually add clay to the water when they're water hardening. The clay coats that outer membrane on the egg and makes them not stick to each other. When you start getting eggs clumping together, you get them all kind of locked up into a matrix, and then the inner eggs don't get oxygen, where the outer eggs do. It's always a big thing with walleyes, suckers, and lake sturgeon. Muskies and pike will stick a little bit, but not enough that we need to use clay. The water harden for about 2 hours. Clean them up, disinfect them with iodine solution, and then bring them back to the hatchery. And because it's a VHS positive water, we disinfect them again at the hatchery just to make sure we're not introducing anything back into the system.
So this will kill off any kind of bacteria, virus on it, and then I'll just rinse it off with some water, and she'll be ready for the next. We're getting OV fluids out because this has to be sent in for VHS testing. So this actually doing a one female per tube is the best for what we have going on, because then we don't. We don't have to kill everything off. We can just one jar is going to have to be euthanized instead of all of them. So it keeps the collateral down. The eggs look way better this year than they did last year, so I'm pretty excited to see how they do. And guys like you that are out fishing and seeing how they're doing, you can let us know how, like, if you're seeing a problem. Right. We get a lot of info from guides and things like that let us know, it's like, hey, we're not seeing as like what we used to. Right. And lets us know.
Because they're on the water every day.
And we don't have a chance to get out there, so it's great info from you guys coming in. So
no, that's awesome. Hey, looking forward to a little tour at the hatchery up in Wild Rose one of these days. You guys hang on to your heinies.
So yep, here's our cool water building. So when we were in the other room, our other room was right over here. So what we'll do is we'll take those eggs, bring them over here in jars and set them up, and here's what we actually put them in. So these jars are full. We actually have marks so we can actually see how many eggs are in there. Have water flowing through, and this simulates a current in the river to keep them oxygenated. Once they started getting close to hatch, we would actually bring them over to these tanks over here and spread them out. So now we have about 120,000 musky fry in these tanks. So these things are pretty cool. They can stay pretty motionless. So they're all going against, there's a little bit of a current going right now, but you can see they barely look like they're moving. But if you can get a really close up on them, if you look really close, their fins are moving as fast as it looks like hummingbirds. Out in the wild, they'd usually be sitting motionless and attacking phytoplankton or rotifers or daphnia and feeding on smaller prey until they get big enough to start consuming, becoming crucivorous and start eating other fish. So in each tank right now, we have about 12,000 fish, about 10 to 12,000 fish.
What an amazing week this week so far. I'll tell you, you know what? Seeing all these giant muskies and being a passionate musky fisherman really gets me excited. You know, what a wonderful job the DNR has done with this resource here.